With your green outline consistency, touch the tip of the icing bag down on the edge of your cookie. Press until icing starts to come out. While continuing to give steady, even pressure, lift the icing bag and let the icing land on the edge of your cookie rather than dragging the tip along the edge. This will give you a much smoother line. Do this along the edge of your cookie, leaving out the rectangular area at the bottom for the tree trunk. You will need to imagine a rounded section at the bottom near the tree trunk in order to continue the shape of the tree. Take your time outlining. Go slowly. If you mess up, you can scrape off the icing in that area of the cookie and try again. This part takes time and practice, so give yourself some grace. Once you finish the outline, grab your green flood icing. I like to start slightly inside the edge of the cookie, pressing gently to get a feel for how much icing is going to come out with the pressure I'm giving. Then I push the tip to the outline, giving steady, even pressure, and then I trace my outline. With flood, you can let the tip of the bag touch the cookie. Again, go slowly on this part and try to have your icing just touch the outline without going over it. Once you have gone all along the area you're flooding one time, you can start to move faster and apply more pressure. Do your best to fill the entire space. If you have gaps in your icing, you may use a scribe tool or a toothpick to move the icing around so it's all touching. I find one of the most common mistakes for flooding is not using enough icing. If your icing looks bumpy, add more icing. You may need to cut the tip of your bag bigger or squeeze harder. You can also give your cookie a little jiggle by putting the tip of your scribe or toothpick into the center of your cookie and giving a little shake. If it's still bumpy, you may have icing that's too thick and needs a bit more water. After sitting for 10 to 15 seconds, your icing should have a smooth, even surface. Before adding the white detail to your tree, ensure that the flood is crusted over. This may take as little as 15 minutes depending on the humidity in your location. Using a fan will help speed up this process. You may also let the icing dry completely before moving on to the next step if you wish. Once your flood is crusted over, use your white detail icing. Gently touch the top of your tree and apply enough pressure so that the icing starts to come out. Just like outlining the cookie, you will lift your icing bag so the icing falls onto the cookie rather than dragging it with the tip of the bag. If you drag the tip of the bag on freshly crusted icing, it will smudge your flood and the white will bleed into the green. So do your best to make sure that you are lifting and allowing the icing to fall on your crusted cookie. You will need to imagine where you'd like the sections of your tree to be. This part isn't meant to be perfect, and your sections can be uneven and you don't need to go all the way to the edge of your cookie. After outlining in white, you can pressure pipe dots onto the tree sections. Pressure piping just means applying steady pressure so the icing builds up in one spot. Be sure to stop applying pressure before lifting the tip off the dot of the icing, or you will end up with a line of white icing. When you have finished adding the white details, use your brown outline consistency to outline the tree trunk. Fill it in with the brown flood, just as you did with the green. Doing this before your green areas have dried completely will help reduce any craters or icing collapses that might occur in the trunk of the tree. Once you've finished flooding in this section, you've officially completed this adorable gingerbread tree.